We're getting further and further into my favorite time of year, Halloween season. And to continue with our seasonal fun, I've made some goth girls. And these goth girls are based on Pinterest boards that I've created surrounding a certain type of beloved bird. But they're not just any goth girls, they're goth girls with a twist. Without further ado, let's get this party started. First up, we have traditional goth/mall goth girl, who is definitely not inspired by the concept of FNAF. Absolutely not. It definitely is. This wonderful lady looks intimidating, but she really isn't. I based all of my designs this time around on little crow memes that I've accumulated on my Pinterest. This one being a little party crow that I've done a sticker of as well. For these girls, I wanted to lean more into shape language, which I think I've done pretty well. For this clown girl, I wanted her to be an hourglass shape, but have a lot of harsh and triangular designs throughout, sort of to contrast what you normally think of with clowns and clown aesthetics. Have I mentioned the place she works at is clown themed? She sticks out like a sore thumb, but management is happy enough for her to keep her goth vibes as long as she can tolerate pops of color, which she does begrudgingly. Overall, I wanted her to be super intimidating and severe looking with that trad goth sort of hairstyle that's sprayed within an inch of its life, as well as backcombed into a nest. But there's pieces throughout that make her far less intimidating than she likes. For example, her clown collar, which is definitely provided by the establishment she works for. Thankfully, all of her piercings and torn up clothes kind of balance out the goth with the clown. I was inspired by these photos, and I really wanted to bring in more textures and designs in these pieces, which you'll see later. On her corset, I added a little bat because everyone needs a friend, especially when you spend a night shifts at a haunted restaurant full of weird mascots. Wait, who said that? Normally, though, she does a lot of day shifts and primarily does the birthday parties for this restaurant. I think she hates that part, though. People don't tend to take her seriously carrying a huge, colorful cake, or they call her Pennywise anytime she comes out with a bunch of balloons in hand, which is not the look she's going for. When deciding her color palette, I really wanted to balance but still contrast the darker colors of her outfit with the brighter colors of the cake and the balloons, so I went to Handy Danny Pinterest to take a look at palettes and found a perfect one. Pretty much all my colors are going to be picked from this image. Thank you to the person who made it. From what I've seen online and from things people have told me, it's really important to trad goth styles in particular to be primarily black or shades of black, as at least in the 80s and 90s, that goth style was associated with darker themes and emotions. So I wanted to be respectful of that while understanding she works in a literal off-brand Fazbear's Pizza with bright pastel colors everywhere. When it comes to her makeup, I was super inspired by... I actually don't think I can say the actual word on YouTube, but I'll put it censored up on screen. It's called paint and clown paint. While I didn't want bright colors, I tried to put in fun shapes like that star and the heart, which I think is a guilty pleasure of hers to add into her routine on her work days. The parents at the restaurant may not take her seriously, but it puts a smile on the kids' faces to see fun stuff within her makeup, and she likes that she can make them happy. Although quite a few of them have asked her if she's upset because she smears it to be edgy, and she just kind of awkwardly shuffles away whenever that happens, I think. Eventually, she'd like to be able to make money off of her writing. I think she's a horror author struggling to get published, and you know what? Maybe one night she's cleaning up, she'll have an experience with a definitely not haunted animatronics that will leave her with a hit novel. Overall, I love this design the most. I think I just need to get a handle on drawing props better, and shoes, definitely shoes. This sweet girl is based off of this crow and the board I made for her. She's a bubbly and happy person who just happens to love gothic Lolita fashion. For her character design, I tried to lean into more rounded edges and circles. She's definitely the one out of the three that is perhaps a bit less goth in general, but she still fits in, I think. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I wanted to do with her dress, and it all came down to ruffles. Lots and lots of ruffles. Which thankfully I found a lot of ruffle brushes on CSP that came in handy. Her backstory is that she's a magical girl. I am being so original with these, I know. And I think I may have subconsciously designed her off of Madoka from Madoka Magica. You know, that one anime that everyone thinks is really sweet and is actually super, super horrifying? Yeah, that one.
Being Madoka is suffering.
While I didn't draw it, I think she has some sort of cat companion that protects her and serves as a sidekick. I mean, all magical girls need an animal friend, am I right? They get into a lot of fun hijinks together, but they definitely come into contact with some sort of eldritch monstrosity that kicks in the main story. Overall, her design was the easiest when it came to color. I already knew I wanted her to have a pink and black color scheme, as you could see with her hair. The brushes I did her hair with will also be in the description below. They're really, really, really good. I highly recommend them. I stayed to a fairly consistent color scheme, and I'm pretty sure only used 4 or 5 colors aside from her skin colors. That's a really good rule for any character design, by the way, is sticking to about 4 or so colors and building off from there. Some people do 3 or different hues of one color, but I tend to try and stick to 4 main colors. Just makes it more cohesive and nice to look at. I had so many issues with coloring her in though. Whatever was happening with CSP that day was just bad. But I recovered and finally got to the rendering stage. I kept her makeup fairly simple as opposed to the first design. I thought about giving her Batwing eyeshadow, but it wasn't rounded out enough for her character, so we settled for a nice dark pink. Overall, this character was really fun to draw. I think if I revisit her, I would draw her animal companion and try to make her makeup a little more her, if that makes sense. This last design is based off of the popular Tumblr meme, "Fucking superb, you funky little death omen," posted by Cthulhu Sanders all the way in 2018, and she is definitely a death omen. I struggled really hard with her shape language, which was supposed to be long and rectangular, but I think I did okay in conveying her body type. I think she's supposed to look like those really long cats, you know, with big goblin ears. She's definitely incredibly severe looking and maybe is related in some way to the first design I did. They're both pretty harsh looking. At first, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with her hair, but I had decided on a Victorian or romantic goth look for her. So I just went with a lot of buns and long hair, which seems to be overall the vibe for a lot of Victorian hairstyles, though there are more curls to a lot of them, but I try to stay away from that as I wanted that exaggerated boxy and severe style to shine. And the only places I really strayed away from with that rectangular shape were her bangs and also her blouse, which has the same ruffle type as the second character design. Work smarter, not harder, as they say. I love Victorian outfits, but man, finding a reference for one that isn't a long dress for a lady is hard. Let them wear pants, I say. Her line art went super well, and I was particularly fond of all the little jewel embellishments that I gave her. They're based off of the vampiric aesthetic fashion that'll come up on Pinterest from time to time for me, where there's pearl necklaces, but they look spattered with jam. Yeah, definitely jam. And I took specific inspiration from that, but also this corset and this dress with a bunch of slashes in it. I just think they're neat. And yes, this goth girl may be a vampire. We're finally getting into her lore. It ties in with my struggle to get her colors right. I knew I wanted to stay within the cream and red and black color scheme, but I didn't know in what combo I should do them in, and I did accidentally just make the love child of Grell Sutcliffe and Madame Red from Black Butler. If you don't know what Black Butler is, you were not around when I was on the internet at a young age. It's a long-standing manga based on a little Victorian child who makes a deal with a demon and he becomes the child's butler. Hilarity and horror ensue. I haven't read or watched Black Butler since I was quite young, but I do have a fondness for the art style and the character designs, so while I did accidentally create an OC from that universe somehow, I think that's fine. Sometimes we have to embrace our inner cringe. I think this character is a model or a fashion designer who is a complete recluse and really struggles with social skills. Same girl, same. But she loves making outfits that people feel comfortable in. She was turned in a really terrible way, and I don't think her maker's really around. Not that she wants them to be, and making her brand distracts her from her deep loneliness. One day she wants to be surrounded by friends, but for now she has her designs. Overall, I really love her character. If I had to change anything, it'd be those damn boots. I gotta do some studies again. Wish me luck. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. I really appreciate it. There will be more character designs in the future, but I think they'll be every 2 weeks or so, and my videos may be on a schedule of every 2 weeks or so in general, just so I'm not scrambling to film and draw and all that good stuff. You know how it is. If you like my content, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And if you super like my content, go ahead and consider becoming a patron or channel member. You get a shout out at the end of all of the videos, and depending on what tier you subscribe to, you also get early access to said videos too. You can find links to all of my various social media, as well as my second channel, which is a gaming channel, and our Etsy store down in the description below. All I ask of you is to remember to not look in your attic. I'm making something truly terrible and horrific beyond human comprehension, and I just cannot be disturbed at the moment. Thank you for understanding. Thank you to Jacques, Herald of the Dark Roast, Meg, Exarch of the Golden Egg, High Artisan Anonymous B, Great Alpha Wolf Squilliam William, Nairuz, Seer of Rosy Mercy, Ghost, Infernal Collector of the Damned, Golden Paladin Court, Isabella, Redeemer of Bad Himbos, Keeper of the Lapin Warren, Robin, Most Royal of all the Rats, Ethereal Consort of House Vicarian, Fungal Sovereign Taz, Exalted Curator Wick, the Under-Elf of Delphinia, Paragon of Starlight, an impossible amount of rat babies, Divine Herald Jordan, Estrella, Sage of the Outer Realms, Wretched Sauce of House Worcestershire, Champion Pallypunk of the Immortal Valley, Taylor of Macabre Coney Livery, Eternal Apostle Austin, the Contingent of Fables, the Eminence of Light, Bunny, Exarch of the Ornate Tomb, Harley the Sanguinous, Grand Overlord Silas, Being of Exalted Sunlight, Delegate of Clan Latineurs, Eternal Consul Puja, High Magi Katie, the Herald of Wrens, Knight Susan of the Milkiest Order, Great Seer Clare, and Sir Matthew, Guardian of the Preserved Apiary.